Hi, everyone, and welcome to the AI for International ADs workshop. Before we begin, I want to give a big thank you to Jacob Burke, Scott Jarvis, and the whole team at Bound. Their original AI for ADs workshop sparked the idea for this international focused version. If you're curious about Bound and how their all-in-one platform can make your job more efficient and productive, check out my referral link below to set up a meeting. This is the first of many workshops that we'll be offering to bring practical and meaningful tools to ADs from around the globe. Please note, some parts of this workshop have been edited to protect participant privacy. Now let's get started.
So I want to thank everybody for logging in here today. My name is Turner Neal, and I want to be clear with that because I know it's really confusing for many people, but my first name is Turner, my last name is Neal. And this year I've been working on different professional development items for ADs and doing it in a lot of different ways. And I was really appreciative to Mike to humor me tonight where I'm at in Shanghai, China, to help host this workshop. I'm hoping next year, maybe even before the summer, to offer more of these workshops to international ADs. This is who I am. I've been an AD for 13 years. I was an AD back in the US and then here in Shanghai, China. But I'm a recovering AD, so I'm not working this year. I'm here tonight with Mike Deneef. Mike, who are you?
I'm Mike Deneef, and I'm sitting here in Dhaka. My main job today will just be to support Turner. I'm on the background in the chat, trying to collect everything you guys throw out there. Really happy that Turner's ran with the ball with this. We talked after the NADC in December about with the our NIAAA group about starting for professional development for AI for athletic directors. I think we're on the cusp of a lot of cool stuff, and I'm excited about what's going to happen tonight.
So our process tonight is I'm going to talk through a couple different tools as we go through. And if you have questions, you can type them into the chat box and Mike will see them. And at the end of each pertinent section, we can stop and take some of those questions. We've allotted about 10 minutes for each section as we go through. And then whatever time we have at the end will be Q&A time, discussion time, etc. Before we get started, I'm stealing this concept from the NIAAA. AI is a challenging thing. It's not perfect. I'm doing a bunch of this stuff live with you on this call. Although I've practiced some of this stuff, it may not come out the same. I was telling Mike before we started this that I had run through a couple of my Zaps yesterday. They looked pretty good. And then I ran them today and the output was crap. And I actually had to go and redo a bunch of my prompts. And so I'm hopeful that everything goes well tonight, but just be aware that that's the nature of AI. Also be aware that this is not legal advice. We are not giving you any formal advice. We're not taking on any risk associated with that. You should be talking with your school or organization about how to use AI and what's allowed at your school. Some of the things that we're going to show today does require you to give AI access to your email or give access to other things that you have. And so you may or may not want to do that.
If I can jump in, Turner. I put my hand up. You didn't see it, but I saw it. Turner's experience today solidifies two big things. AI is only as good as what you feed it, what the prompts are. So pay a lot of attention to how Turner talks about how he worked through these different processes. And something we're all great with in athletics, activities, and education, grit is required to work through the AI sphere. You're not going to get it perfect the first time, but it's worth it in the end if you stick with it.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I would also add to that I don't, we say in our disclaimer here, we're not experts. And to be honest, like some of this, the Zapier stuff that I'm going to show at the end, which is automating workflows, I didn't even start doing that until 4 days ago when in our WhatsApp, people started asking questions about how they might be able to automate things. I've looked at Microsoft Flow before and had kind of investigated these things, but I'm learning as we go as well, and just wanted to provide that back. I think one of the things that I'm very blessed to have right now is the gift of time, which I know as working ADs, you probably don't have. And so I just wanted to be able to share that experience with you here tonight. The first one that we're going to talk about is ChatGPT. And talking with Mike, I assume that most people here have some ability to use ChatGPT, or they're using it now. This is some of the quick information up on the screen, and then we're going to run through 2 case studies today, or applications, to see what it can do. But these are things that I'm guessing, at least the first one is, I'm guessing that these are things that you guys may already do within your job. So I'm going to flip over to my ChatGPT, and I'm going to go to my AD GPT, which is a custom-built GPT. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And this has some information about how to respond. I figure that this is what a lot of people do. One of the things that you can do better is provide a better prompt to answer these emails. And so one of the best ways I use to help set up my prompts is actually to ask ChatGPT. I have some pretty in-depth prompts. I've joined several like subreddits and other online groups that talk about ChatGPT or LLMs, whatever it is, and they provide a lot of prompt assistance. And actually, OpenAI just put out like a 20-page prompt guide on how to write the best prompts. And so I've put that in the background and have used that to design prompts in the future. So if we wanted to design a prompt for the future, I might ask it to. Help me design a prompt as an AD to write professional, kind, and polite emails to parents. And it will give me a lot of good information about how I might do that in the future. And then I would copy and paste this, and then I would put it into a custom GPT so I can use it in the future. The next one.
Just hold on. Just wanted to mention, JJ mentioned that he actually dictates into ChatGPT instead of typing. It's a great way to save time and be a lot more efficient in what you're doing.
I do as well, actually. In the mornings, oftentimes I start my day with a walk. Again, not a practicing AD right now. And while I'm on my walk, if I have ideas about what I want to do, I will open up ChatGPT and start dictating notes and ideas, and then ask it to bring those up for me later.
And before you jump into custom GPTs, I would just like to add, I use projects in ChatGPT a lot. Just basically dividing up my workflows, and everything that I put into that project, the GPT actually listens to and uses when I push stuff back out, and it gets to know me pretty well.
Yep. So I'm actually, before we go into custom GPTs, I'm going to do one more here. So this is an example of a prompt that I put together earlier, and it is to help me do an analysis of a budget spreadsheet, and from that analysis, create a board report. And so you can see I've got it over here on a Word doc, so that's where I'm copying and pasting it from. But I created this on ChatGPT, and so I'm asking it to do the following things. To look at the total number of distinct activities offered, participation, budget overviews, cost per student, who is this going to, which is my board. Provide this in a written format with a program overview, analysis, etc. And so what I'm going to do is I have a budget that I had in the US. And this budget may look a little bit different than what you use today, but it breaks down all of our activities, the income from the activities, the expenditures from each of those activities for salaries, uniforms, equipments, league fees, transportation, event costs, etc. Those are all linked into other cells kind of on the back end. There's some references here that look like they're broken, but this is from 2018-19. But this is what I used to have to do in the US for my school. And so I'm going to copy and paste that over. I've provided a good template, prompt, and we're ready to go. This is a little bit of a longer prompt. Hopefully it can still spit out an answer within 30 seconds. I would say that while we're waiting for this, I have ChatGPT Plus, and so I pay $20 a month for ChatGPT. There's a higher version than this that's like $200 a month. I don't have any preferences towards like ChatGPT versus other things. I've not used the other, like Gemini. I've not used it all that much. I've used Copilot a little bit, but because I started using OpenAI a while back, I've just kind of stuck with it. I've thought about providing or using other things in the future. So it's created a data set kind of from that, and now it's going to start putting out a board report summary that I could then take, roll into a Word doc, and if I wanted it to be in a Word doc, I could copy and paste it over and use it there. And so it provides a fairly good analysis of all the different activities we have, where we're using stuff, where we're not. Apparently, we're not spending any money on girls basketball 4 through 6. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what it says. Again, you need to trust but verify. So I would need to go back and look into that budget and see what that looks like. We can see the average cost per student. And so because I have a budget sheet that has my total expenditures plus income, and so in the US, I charge participation fees for all of these sports. I can look at those against each other and see kind of what works, what doesn't work. And then we had in-house programs as well. And then some of the key findings and strategic recommendations that we could provide back to our board. So this is maybe a bigger use of ChatGPT. It just takes a minute or two, but this may reduce your workload significantly if you have to create a board report at the end of the year and you have some expenditure reports or other budget items, offerings, participation data. I was working with folks at SAS earlier this week to get all of the ASA offerings that they had in middle school and elementary school. This did a pretty good job. I ran it, but I'm not going to show it tonight, but it breaks down all the different activities that were offered across the 2 campuses and what that looks like. And so this does a very nice job of providing high depth analysis in a very quick way. Any questions about ChatGPT and its use before we move on?
Yeah, Nate had a question. I think I know what he's talking about here. It's how can we stop chat writing the EM, the dash? And I know I've actually used prompts to basically tell ChatGPT to not write like ChatGPT. And
yeah,
that has actually helped a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And so I would say there's a couple ways to do that. You could be as explicit as saying, do not use the M dash. You can also give it, I just finished a master's, and one of the things that I would oftentimes do is upload many samples, or if you're writing emails, upload samples of your writing and say, look at my writing and write in the way that I do. Another way to do that is I've actually found, again, I'm in different groups where people are sharing prompts, and someone may share a prompt that's been really successful for them. So you are a successful copywriter, you speak clearly in these ways. You use compound sentences. You vary punctuation use throughout your thing. You don't start with, I hope everyone is well. It provides these very clear examples that that you can use. And so I've stolen some of those prompts and then put them in the back end of either my projects or my custom GPTs in the past, in the instructions, in order to improve the writing and the output that's there. One thing I would say is I think ChatGPT does, what I hear is it's got a better memory than many other LLMs that are out there, large language models, which is like Gemini, whatever. And that's one of its strengths. And so it may remember that, but there are times when I would need to go back and retrain it. And so perhaps I've uploaded stuff in the past, and a long conversation down, hundreds of lines of text, it's forgotten it, and it's starting to put out the same crap that it used to put out. And so then I have to go back and retrain it, or I will actually kill that chat and start a new chat in order to improve the quality of the writing.
I would like to just jump in, since we're talking about ChatGPT foibles. A couple of issues I've had: copy and pasting from ChatGPT into certain programs. You'll get some formatting errors. You have to make sure you check that before you push it out. We use Google Classroom, and whenever I push it into Google Classroom, anything that was bolded doesn't show up in Google Classroom. You've got to unbold it, bold it again. Another one is when you paste it into our email client, if you changed any wording in there, the font will come out at a different size if you don't actually go resize the entire email. So that's a way to, and the other thing would be, if you don't want people to know that it was ChatGPT, make sure you take out the emojis and emoticons, because those are dead giveaways most of the time.
And you can also train it to not use those. But yeah, I mean, ChatGPT has a very clear, writing style that I think people, it's obvious, I think, to a lot of people. One of the questions, I was in another workshop around AI not long ago, actually. And one of the questions that I posed to that group is, when is using ChatGPT going to be acceptable? When I'm on LinkedIn, I see really smart people, professionals that everyone is following, and I think it's quite obvious that they're using ChatGPT to put out their posts, right? And do I think worse of them because they didn't take the time to personally change that, or not? Do I think, oh man, everyone's using ChatGPT, so why should we do that? I think the answer that I got from some other folks on the call, and this is, I'm curious what you all think, is like, we're probably not there yet. Some people think, oh, they're being lazy, or, oh, this isn't personal enough. And in those situations, if it needs to be a personal email, then I would absolutely change it and use ChatGPT to kind of help craft it. And I may make the first copy, use ChatGPT to give me feedback, or maybe I use ChatGPT to create the initial draft, and then I go in and change it up a little bit. One of my goals as a person, though, is to reduce the amount of time I spend on each individual task. And so I spend a bit more time kind of crafting those back-end prompts so that it's less obvious, and it still provides, my voice within my writing.
Turner, question for you. It came up a couple times. The paid version, the $20 version of ChatGPT, is it worth it? And if it is, why?
So I thought it was worth it personally. The reason I thought it was worth it is because I was consistently running into caps, and where I couldn't use ChatGPT anymore, and I wasn't able to use the newest models when they came out. So it made sense for me to get it. Whenever I have a question, to be honest, one of the first things I do is come and ask it in ChatGPT, and so. It's on the screen right now. What are the key differences between the two tools? And so I don't use DALL-E all that much, but I do use ChatGPT a ton to create a lot of content, whether it's writing pages of stuff I have, which I'm not going to talk about today, but I'm working on creating a RAG, which is I have like 10 gigs of data. That's books and workshops and all sorts of other things. And then I'm pulling directly from that 10 gigs of custom data to create new content. And you're not able to do that on the free version. I also use the API setup now in order to create automations. And you're not able to do that on the free one as well. If you are just using ChatGPT to look at your emails, I think you're fine on the free version. But if you want to start uploading a significant amount of data, if you want to create customized things, if you want an answer right away because you're using it regularly, you might want to pay for it. Maybe your organization pays for it, or they pay for something like it. There's a million ChatGPTs out there that you can go and find, and some are even more focused on school. And so your tech people will have a better idea about like what you can use at your school if you want to get into this and you don't want to pay personally.
So at that point, I think we should jump on to the next one. I've been holding you off from it.
Perfect.
Customs.
Okay, so the next thing that I've done with ChatGPT that I'd like to show people is I've created a custom ChatGPT called the Handbook Evaluator. And what I did with this is I collected a variety of handbooks from different places, some from international schools that I could web scrape off of the internet, and then others from the QPA. If you're familiar with the NIAAA, and the QPA is the Quality Program Award. We were a part of that when I was at SAS. And so we got access to a lot of example documents that you could use. And so that also has handbooks that's a part of it. And so it's a mix of international handbooks and American-based handbooks, but American-based handbooks that are considered to be kind of the top, right? And so based on that data, I went in and I asked ChatGPT to analyze all of those handbooks together and to determine kind of what is the best practice template that we could use to evaluate and create new handbooks in the future. And so I got a couple handbooks today. I'll tell you, I've got one for schools, but I also have one for conferences. The school one I think is considerably better than the conference one. So this is a live thing. I'm going to put in one that I got from my friend Kirby at WAB. And so Kirby, hopefully this doesn't say your handbook sucks. It says it's great. I have a simple command that I put in here, which is evaluate this handbook. That's a trigger that goes into a much larger prompt in the back. So we're going to put in WAB's handbook. It's going to look and see what it's got. And it's going to go through a list of prompts that we have. And so at WAB, this handbook opens with a clear mission statement, focuses on positive youth development, good alignment within the web community. For formatting and organization, it's got a clear table of contents. These are all the different sections of the handbook. It progresses logically, and so we ask it to say, does it make sense? Kind of, are they in the right order? For navigation tools, so one recommendation I would provide to Kirby is that I like in the footer of a handbook, I like to have a clickable link that says back to the table of contents. So if someone is reading through your handbook, they can go to, page 50, they can read a policy there. And then if they want to go look up other policies, they click that link, it brings them to the table of contents, which is also hopefully a clickable link, and then it pulls down. So that's one recommendation that it's going to provide for us. So it doesn't have a titled appendices, but it has a glossary of terms, visual frameworks, and sample pathways. This is a section by section breakdown with comments for each of those sections. So I like that it has diagrams and has images to make it easier to look at. That's a strength. So assessment of completeness. It's got team selection, tryouts, coach evals, coach conduct, safeguarding protocols, competition expectations, developmental models. Great. Gaps noted. No mention of procedures for conflict resolution. So if someone is mad, if you have a parent that wants to complain, who are they complaining to? What's the process? So it's saying maybe that would be a good thing to add into your handbook. You don't have emergency protocol or a medical incident response. It's possible, knowing WAB, and this was my situation at Concordia, we actually had a separate handbook that was from our athletic trainer that broke down all of the emergency protocol. And so we would typically share both with our coaches. So it may be that you have that. And then we don't have anything about a feedback process for athletes and parents, nor do we have travel protocols and then uniform guidelines. So how are you distributing uniforms? When does that happen? What does that look like? When do they come back? Stuff like that, or it's not present, or it's very lightly touched. Unique and standout features, athlete-centered development model, more robust than is standard across other folks. So this is the feedback that this one can provide. One of the things then that I do if I'm working with an AD, and I've worked with a couple ADs throughout this year to help them with this, is I say, based on the feedback that we have here, where can we make this better? Can you provide specific page numbers and provide examples of policies or procedures that we could put into place? So that conflict resolution protocol, maybe we could put that into page 9 through 11. And then here's an example. The concerned parties should meet within 48 hours of the issue. If unresolved, escalate to the AD. Written summary of the incident and steps taken should be submitted to the AD. If still unresolved, a meeting involving school leadership will be scheduled within 7 working days. Here's an EAP, travel and trip protocols, etc. So this is one example of how we could have kind of limited time. You know, I've spent a lot of time, frankly, building this custom GPT up, but you can see on the spot, we can come up with some very, very strong feedback to make this handbook better in the future. What questions came up during that? I'm looking at the time right now, and I'm not sure I've got time to do another one. But Mike, what I saw some chats coming up. What's going on, man?
Nothing really related to the custom GPTs.
Okay.
Kat's got some stuff about presentations, which I know we'll get into in a little bit. I guess maybe you could simplify for me just a little bit, because when you and I first talked about custom GPTs, I was totally confused, and I consider myself semi-literate in some of this stuff. The difference between a custom GPT and using ChatGPT just to do that kind of stuff. Like, I could throw in my handbook in ChatGPT and say, critique this for me, right?
Yeah. So a custom GPT is, I think it's similar to a project, but what I have done is uploaded data in the back end and then gone through a fairly rigorous process to develop some core prompts that are in that back end. I'm looking at my screen right now, so I can see that a question came up about sharing custom GPTs. The answer is yes, you can share them, and you can monetize them on the OpenAI system. And so right now, I'm not doing this right now, but I could share this custom GPT, and it would be available for anyone to subscribe to. But you need to have a paid account in order to subscribe to it. I could also host it on like another website via an API, and then anyone could go and use it. And if I was doing that, then I would be paying for all of the data effectively that other people are using. And so there's kind of two ways for me to share this. One is to other paid users for free, or you can monetize it through their system, through a marketplace that people go to, or I could host it on a website, in which case the costs come down to me, and then it's up to me to put up a paywall if I want to do that. And there are a number of custom GPTs out there that are behind paywalls that people go to. I subscribe to some. I don't think they're great, to be honest. Like, I'm in a custom GPT subreddit group where people make them and share them. I use them sometimes, but most of the time they're not as specific as this. I think that this one is you know, if you want to have a good custom GPT, it needs to really be focused around a specific set of information that is not otherwise available to any other LLM. And this one is, right? And so it has a lot of data on the back end that it would take a long time for regular ChatGPT to go find 20 handbooks and to analyze what those handbooks are and how they fit and that sort of thing, right? And so if you're just going to make a custom GPT to write better emails, that's probably not a great use. But if you have very specific or unique sets of data or information that you want to put in, a custom GPT might be the right way to do it.
All right, looking at time, I think you can power through.
Let's go.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we've actually just went through all of this. Some other examples of custom GPTs that we have. We could take that board report that we made earlier, create a custom GPT with those prompts, with past examples of board reports. So we could take our previous board reports, upload them. It would save all that data. We could use it. And then we could also use past surveys. So if you've got 10 years worth of survey data showing at your school, how do kids, are they satisfied? Are they not satisfied? A custom GPT might make some sense in that scenario because you would have 10 years of very school specific, culture specific data that it could draw upon, and it would give you then better advice about, is a 3 out of 4 good? Or if they say they strongly agree, do they always say they strongly agree? And it would go back and analyze all that past survey data and provide you a more unique, nuanced response for you. Gamma AI. Gamma AI is a tool to create fast presentations. And I'm going to do one. I'm just going to make this up right now as we go. So this is the ChatGPT that we got earlier, and it's our budget analysis. So let's say instead of a Word doc, we want to create a PowerPoint for this instead. And actually, what I'm using right now is Gamma. I'm using Gamma to create this presentation now. I'm going to come to Create New. I'm going to paste in some text, which I just stole from ChatGPT. So this is all of that data, and this is the prompt editor. So this is everything that I just pasted in. This is from ChatGPT, like I said. For my PowerPoint that I want to create, I want each slide to be relatively brief. I want it to generate new data. I want it to condense the data that I gave it. Additional instructions. Use more bullet points as a format. I'm going to do that. 8 cards. This is how many slides you want. Within Gamma, 10 cards is free. I pay for this, and so I can get up to 20 cards. But it's recommending that we use 8 cards. I'm going to go up a little bit. Let's do this. This is the theme that we want to build on. So what do we want it to look like? Just because it matches with which I didn't plan, the Neal Family Consulting brand, the logo, I tend to use Lux for all of them that I use, all the PowerPoints that I create, but there's a million templates here. And in fact, you can come in and create other templates. I've uploaded some NIAAA PowerPoint presentations. And so if I were going to write a new NIAAA course in the future, I could use this and it would help generate it in that format for me. But I'm going to use Lux right now, and I'm going to hit generate. I think this one's pretty fun because you actually get to watch it work. One of the critiques I have for Gamma AI is it loves to put in all of these different images, and sometimes they're cool, but more often, and that's why I put in that prompt, I want it to use more bullet points. So when I'm creating big presentations like this, I tend to go back through and have to edit it down and find more or tell it to go back to bullet points. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly just because I'm looking at the clock. But all of these things are very easily editable. So I can come up here, edit with AI. I want this to be in a bullet point format. Boom, it's there. I like that better. So I'm going to say done editing on that. You know, I like this photo, but I'm going to change it. So I'm going to do program overview. I want to show kids playing sports on a soccer field instead. That's the image I want. So this is going to go in. It's going to create a new AI image for me and update this slide for me. Boom, I've got kids playing soccer. Another thing that you can do that's pretty neat is it's really easy to embed things. And so if I go to a backslash, I can create lots of different things in here. One of the things I do a lot when I'm making these is YouTube videos. And so I can pop in a YouTube video. I can come over here. I can grab a URL from a YouTube video and directly embed it into this presentation for the future. I've got a bunch of modules that I've created around leadership development that are used by the peer groups in the US, and all of those have embedded kind of leadership YouTube videos, some of which are downloaded and saved in the presentation so that it can be shown offline. And so this is a great way to build up presentations in the future. You can also take other presentations that you've used in the past and have it build one up. So I'm going to upload a file.
Which Gamma AI are you using? There appear to be a number from Kirby.
So you can see the URL up here, gamma.app is the Gamma that I use. And it has this G, this blue G. So gamma.app is the version I use.
And I guess Kat had a question, and maybe this could be crowdsourced. If anybody has any other presentation AI tools that they use, throw them in the chat. Do you know of any, Turner?
Like Beautify is one. You know, I try out lots of different ones. Oftentimes I go to ChatGPT and I say, what are the top 10 presentation AI platforms out there, and give me an analysis of which one is the best, how much they cost, that sort of thing. So I pose all those questions to ChatGPT. It creates a nice little table for me, and then I take a shot at using it. HeyGen. Some of you probably saw a video that I had created for this presentation on HeyGen. The purpose of HeyGen is to create AI videos. What you do is you upload a video or even a still image of yourself. For me to make this, I did a 2-minute video, which you can see here. So I did this. This one actually is just 15 seconds. I did kind of a quick one, but then I made a 2-minute one where I had a suit on, and so I looked nice. And so this is the one that I used for the video introducing this particular workshop. And I'll show you how we can create a video, but it's going to take too long actually for us to make a video as we go. But I'll show you how easy it is. So I'm going to upload a PowerPoint. I have a workshop around developing a championship culture that I've created in the past. And so I'm uploading that PowerPoint right now into HeyGen. It's going to bring me to this screen. It's got all the different segments put together. I'm going to look up here. I don't want Annie, which they've got random people as their other avatars. I'm going to grab me. I'm going to grab the one where I'm wearing a suit because I look nice. Then I've got different voice clones. So I've done different videos at different times. And so every time I speak, I talk a little bit differently. I think this 522 one is probably the best version of it. And then I could hit generate. I'm going to do a preview right now.
Developing a championship culture involves fostering resilience, leadership, and personal growth. A championship culture is defined by shared vision, core values, and behavioral expectations. It thrives on traditions, accountability, and recognition.
Integrity, accountability, and commitment to excellence are foundational.
This is HeyGen. It's really easy to use. I love the language translation. I envision this being used by ADs to create training videos for your local coaches, to send out messaging really quickly to your families in different languages. If you're getting ready to do a school registration or something like that, you've got an important beginning of the year announcement, you could put it into here and it produces high quality content. You know, I'm curious, I shared my other video with lots of people, and I had some people that were like shocked that it was not me. Now, they may not be people that are aware of what AI video can do now, but it's pretty realistic, frankly. And that took us, you know, I did it right in front of you. It took us a minute to put that together. It would take us 5 minutes to hit generate on this. And then to create a brand new video that we could then save in like 1080p if we wanted it in that quality, and then have the lip sync. And the lip sync will work with any language as well. Okay, we're going on to Zapier. This is the one that I think that a lot of people were interested in, is how do we automate more of our job? I've created 2 automations that I'll show and we can try today. The first one is a newsletter automation. And so I've pre-written some of this. Yeah, I did. And so this is a form that I've created that you would send out to your coaches. And so your coaches at the end of a game would have this form, or maybe it's a QR code that they scan and it brings them to it. And we're just going to fill it out on the spot. So we're playing a game on Monday the 2nd. We are the boys soccer team. We're playing against the British International School, and we won the game 3-0. The question is then, identify a few highlights from the competition that can be used in the weekly newsletter. So I didn't have the grades in this one, but I just did it quickly. So Turner had a hat trick with 3 goals. One was a bicycle kick, super cool. Mike D had 2 assists and played great on the wing. He just moved to that position, and we're really happy he went there. Hannah N was the goalkeeper. Hannah's my wife, and she had 8 saves. She stood on her head. Great performance. The whole team played well and maintained possession throughout the match. Great pressing, which we have been working on in practice. Excited to see where this goes next. So this is something that your coach could put out in about 1 minute on their phone immediately after a game. I've also created a verbal version of this, but it's not functioning quite as well, so I'm not going to show it tonight. I'm going to take this, I'm going to hit submit. That's going to take about 3 minutes maybe to generate. And so then while that's generating, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is what that Zap is. Zapier is a website that has all sorts of different services. One of them is automation. I don't pay Zapier anything, so I'm still in the free format, free version of Zapier. And effectively, there are there's different aspects of it. So the first part is we have a trigger, and this trigger, new spreadsheet row, means that I've connected it into the response Excel sheet. So I made that survey. Then I created an Excel sheet that has the responses from that survey. And every time a new row gets added to that survey, it triggers this automation to start. The next thing it does is it goes down to a conversation in ChatGPT. So this is linked to my ChatGPT. This is the prompt that we have in here. And so it spits it into this. And then ChatGPT takes that information, it follows the prompts, writes a newsletter format for me, and then the last step is it sends me an email. Now, this could be a draft email, but I'm just sending it to myself right now. And so that's what that looks like. I'm going to come back over. I'm going to see if it made it. I used that exact same prompt earlier, though, and so this is what that prompt looks like. This is what ChatGPT pushed out for me. On June 1st, 2025, the Eagles soared to new heights in an exhilarating match against, I put the Germans earlier instead of the British, unfortunately, clinching a fantastic 3-0 victory that had fans cheering with pride from kickoff to final whistle, blah, 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 blah. Turner electrified the crowd with a dazzling hat trick, scoring all 3 goals. One particularly spectacular moment was a gravity-defying bicycle kick goal. Definitely not something you see every day. On the wings, Mike D stepped up, 2 assists, showcasing his ability to adapt quickly after recently moving to the position. Kept up pressure on the Germans. Meanwhile, the fearless goalkeeper, blah, 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 blah. And so it was able to create this within about 3 minutes, send it to me as an email. The output of this could also go into a Google Doc that you could then create like a running newsletter for your week, and then you could send that out. If you think this is too long, you can adjust the prompt, etc. The other one that I have is a weekly game reminder. And so this prompt, and actually I just got the email, I felt it on my wrist. Maybe it sent it to my other one. Nope, hasn't come through yet. Anyway, so this is a schedule. This is a fake schedule for my teams for the year. And so I've got my event date, game times, early dismissals, the team that's competing, the opponent, the location, special notes. So if it's like a senior night, and then who is it sending an email to? Right now I have it sent, so it's going to the coach's email in the to category. I'm gonna hit yes on this now. So it starts the process. So it goes to this email, the neilfamilyconsulting@gmail.com, and then it BCCs the Turner@neilfamilyconsulting.com. And so if you put a list of your family emails in here, it would BCC all those people. And if you wanted to send it to your teachers or whatever, you could do that as well. And so this will then similarly, it goes in, there's an updated spreadsheet row. So how I have this trigger set up is it's in the send email column. And so if I change this column, send email, if I change this column and hit enter, again, it triggers that automation to start occurring. I tried, but was not able to successfully have a timer associated with it. So like 7 days before. I think that is viable, but I wasn't able to get it figured out prior. If we come back over, this is what that output will look like. So we're excited for the upcoming varsity cross-country match against the American School #2 on 5/27 at 4 o'clock. The game will take place at Forest Park. Early dismissal, 13:15. Remember, there'll be an early dismissal at 1:15, so I just reiterated the same thing. The bus time, don't be late. It puts it from military into PM for us. And then senior night, this is a special game as we honor the senior athletes. Let's show them support and appreciation for their dedication to the team. And then we have our core values built into this email. So this is, again, a relatively simple prompt that takes a trigger, sends it into ChatGPT, OpenAI, and then the final action is to take that and send it as an email. And so that's how one might do an automation with Zapier. You can do a lot of different things with this. Anytime someone emails you, it gives a response or it sends a draft. You can do social media through Zapier. It's connected to hundreds of other apps and makes it really easy to use. And the plans, I'm using a free version and the paid version is $20 a month. I may start using that in the future, but I'm not paying for it now. What questions, before I go to that, what questions do we have about Zapier or other items here? I'm willing to sit for questions. It's 8:58, so I want to respect everyone's time. I do want to put these 2 QR codes up. I'm really interested if you thought that this workshop was valuable, if we should do it again. So if you scan the QR code on the left, it will bring you to a form to give me feedback. It's an anonymous form, but I would really appreciate it. Mike and I would really appreciate it because I do want to make more of these in the future and see if this is a good format for us to use. And then the second one, and maybe you've seen this, but I'm really interested in putting together some facilitated peer groups for ADs moving forward. A facilitated peer group is a group of ADs that would meet on a monthly basis, probably on Zoom because we're international ADs. That group stays together for a long period of time. We meet monthly, talk about what's going on in our lives in a trusted, confidential environment, and then I would provide workshop materials at the end of that. And that's what we're doing already for city managers back in the US, where we've got about 150 paying customers who are a part of that. And so I'm interested to see if ADs are interested in doing that. I understand at the beginning it may not be People probably don't want to pay for it or pay very much at the beginning, and I'm open to that, and just want to see if it's helpful for international ADs around. So these are 2 QR codes that I would appreciate, or at least the left-hand side, if you could give us feedback, that would be great. Then 8:59, what other questions do we have that I can try to answer? And I'm happy to hang out longer than 9 o'clock.
And there is one final poll in the chat if you want to throw in there that would give us some data about future topics if you're interested. And then if I look on the chat, no extra questions in the chat. So feel free to unmute yourself if you want, or take off if you need to. No, it's a busy time of the year. Turner and I, our email addresses are on here, and we're open for a conversation at any time, obviously.